Here's my audience. Can you see? Okay. Have you ever been so busy and had a difficult time trying to cram something into that schedule? It is so important to understand that this is an everyday struggle with student athletes. They spend hours on their sport or studying for class, leaving them very little time to earn a job. I am a high school student athlete, and I am not able to get a job due to the time I spend playing sports. College student athletes dedicate a lot more time, making it even harder to receive a paycheck. In this speech, you will learn how much time student athletes spend on their sport and in school, the struggles they face without a paycheck, and reasons why they should be paid. First, let's get an understanding of roughly how much student athletes spend their time working for their sport and in the classroom. Due to the NCAA 20-hour rule, athletes are only allowed to practice 20 hours a week, but this isn't always the case. According to the website Are College Athletes Overworked, written by Carrie Reagan, published October 23, 2018, the average student athlete stated they spend around 40 hours a week practicing and training. Because of the excessive amount spent practicing, student athletes have little free time. The athletes wake up early in the morning for practice, followed by a class. Then they get a little rest and study time to eventually go back to practice for the afternoon or the evening. Since these athletes aren't getting paid, it is important that NCAA enforces its rules. The student athletes shouldn't spend more time training than some full-time jobs because they aren't receiving a paycheck. Because these athletes spend multiple hours practicing, the time for academics is minimal. Athletes spend so much time performing greatly and getting the playing time they want that they forget about the student part of it. This results in all of the cheating scandals and bad grades. If a student athlete isn't able to get a degree, how are they supposed to get a job? If student athletes were paid, they would most likely pay more attention to the school part because they wouldn't be so worried about scholarships and playing time. This is a diagram of different sports and the amount of hours put in for practice during the season. Now that you know a little bit more about how much time student athletes spend training, it is important to understand the different struggles they face without a paycheck. Depending on the college a person attends, the average cost ranges from $12,000 to $40,000 annually. Student athletes often find themselves in loads of debt because they didn't have time for a job during college to pay it off. Along with the tuition expenses, there's also athletic expenses. These include injuries, fees, and more. According to the article, How Common Are Sports Injuries in College and at SVC, written by Blake Preston, Access, November 20th, 2021, 90% of college athletes claim to be injured during their season, and 54% of the athletes said they continue to play after their injury. The cost of injuries is extremely high, especially for a college athlete who has no money. An injury can oftentimes remove a scholarship from an athlete, resulting in more debt and a smaller chance of going pro. With college athletics comes a fee. According to the article, Is College Football an Expensive Luxury for Many Universities?, written by Lawrence Peterson, published September 25th, 2020, oftentimes universities require athletes to pay a mandatory fee over $1,000 each year. Without a source of income, athletes find themselves in more debt than the average student because of these extra fees. Not only does a college student have to pay tuition, but they also need to have spending money to live appropriately. Students need money for groceries, school supplies, body care products, etc. The average student already struggles with finding ways to pay for necessities, but the average student athlete struggles greatly to even find a source of income. Some people would argue that being a student athlete comes with a lot of perks, such as food being provided, laundry being taken care of, and more. But when they go out into the real world, they usually don't have a penny to spend. This is a diagram of the injuries per 1,000 athletes in all the different sports. Now that you have a better understanding of the struggles student athletes face without a paycheck, let's discuss a few more reasons they should be paid. College sports bring in a lot of revenue, but it doesn't go to the players, like it should. Along with the revenue is the salary of the coaches. The revenue and salaries are not fair to the athletes because the athletes are the reason for both of these things. According to the article, Should College Athletes Be Paid?, written by Mark Jarozdowski, published September 7, 2021, college athletics collected a grand total of $14 billion in revenue during the 2019 season. Not a single penny went to the athletes themselves. Billions of dollars are collected each year from college athletics, and everyone is making money off of it except the athletes. This seems completely unfair because of the amount of time these athletes dedicate to their sport. When athletes perform exceptionally, the exposure of their school rises. It allows people to become aware and make them want to attend that university. This brings more money to the college, which was caused by the athletes. This is the amount of revenue that each conference brought in for the year. The salaries of coaches is extremely high. According to the article, Should College Athletes Be Paid?, published September 7, 2021, over 100 Division I coaches make more than $1 million annually. Depending on the success of the team, the salaries differ. Without the athletes, there would be no coaches. The coaches get all of the credit, even though the athletes are the ones performing. In 41 states, a football or basketball coach is the highest paid employee. Coaches work hard to have success for their team, but so do athletes. Athletes deserve a paycheck because playing a college sport is practically a job. This is a diagram of the highest paid coaches, and the highest is $11.1 million, and the lowest is $376,000. In conclusion, you got an understanding of how much time student athletes spend on their sport, the different struggles they face without a paycheck, and a couple of other reasons on why they should be paid. It is important to understand the reasons why athletes should receive an income because they dedicate a lot of time and effort to play. The next time you are watching a college sport team, remember how hard they work without a paycheck. And here's my